Hello everyone, my name is Jaime Wooten. I'm the owner of Fitness Advantage Trainer, and I've been a health and wellness educator for the last 23 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about movement 101. The first thing to notice is this section of our program is not about exercise. It's not really about exercise, but the focus of a holistic phenomena. All the new science suggests that goal is not exercise, but movement, and become perpetual movement machines like cavemen 1,000 years ago. From an evolutionary biological standpoint, if you look at our species until about 10,000 years ago, we moved all the time. We were constantly moving our bodies. Hunting, gathering, building, playing, everything we did required movements. It's wired into our DNA. Katie Bowman, in a book called Don't Just Sit There, says, if you add up the number of minutes of movement per week we put in, now it's crazy compared to our caveman counterparts. If you put in 300 minutes or 5 hours per week in your top percent of the world, it pales in comparison to the 8 hours per day of our ancestors. And importantly, she says, their rest was active resting, breaks in between movement versus sedentary rest. We were in this rest-dominant state. Wake up, sit in the car, drive to work, sit at work all day, drive home, sit at dinner, watch TV, or something to unwind. The focus is moving from one place to the next in order to get to the next resting place versus resting in order to prepare for the next movement. No cars, no internet, no TV. We have to hunt and gather our food. Just like last week when we discussed food rules and how to return to our ancestral way of eating to create a new future. This week we look at our ancestors again for a clue as to how to optimize our lifestyle as a holistic phenomena. Katie Bowman, move your DNA, 50 to 70 trillion cells in your body, and they are all connected to your motion. We must strive to be in perpetual motion like our ancestors. Many of us that go to the gym live an active sedentary lifestyle. Primary sedentary with periods of activity. Even 60 minutes of vigorous workout plus sedentary lifestyle is not optimal because it's still turning off the genes. The dominant message we are sending to our genes is we are seeking to be static. So the key is, with perpetual movement paradigm, movement transcends and includes exercise. Exercise is still important. It's just not enough to move your DNA. Exercise is like supplements and diet. They're important, but supplemental. It cannot be the main source. The science of motivation. Choose the right way. Michelle Seeger in her new research on goal setting showed that 75% of people chose abstract general goals. Lose weight, more energy, feel healthier, etc. 25% of us choose concrete goals and specific things they would feel immediately from the exercise itself. For example, being more centered, more grounded, energized. She followed both groups, and the latter group showed a 32% increased likelihood to consistently exercise because of the focus on immediate, specific, and measurable outcomes. The key is to make a connection with the movement you will take today and the feeling we will get from it today. Start with the abstract and ask yourself what the abstract will give you or make available right away. Move from chore to gift. Positively reframing. Michelle says that if you feel like you have to exercise in order to achieve some goal, you'll not be inspired. Make the move to connecting your feelings great about yourself. To the exercise or movement, link them to your mind. Create a new habit by using your reward center in the brain. The best kind of exercise is the kind you will do. And the best way to choose this exercise is to find things you enjoy. So quit doing things you hate. Why? Because it's the consistency that matters. You will give up at some point if you're forcing it because you're going against gravity, resisting, and forcing. It's better to be pulled than have to be pushed yourself. So having a growth mindset, we like to track your feelings, data, Learning. New habits more likely cause you not to only feel, but to see the results. Make your exercise a fun experiment. Try new things. Magic pills. If you could take a magic pill that gave you everything you wanted to feel mentally and physically, focus, energized, calm, present, happy, would you take it? Of course you would. That little pill is exercise. John Rady outlines them in his book Spark. It equals balance our neurotransmitters, a little bit of Ritalin, a little bit of Prozac. In Naperville, they implemented a specific fitness regimen, and they dropped 3% overweight, scored top in the nation in science and math, and they found that fit kids were twice as more effective than non-fit children. Scientifically proven to be as effective as Zoloft in reducing depression, they had 3 groups: the Zoloft only, the exercise only, and then a combo of the 2. And they all scored the same empirical evidence. NEAT. N-E-A-T. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, aka micro movements. These movements far exceed the amount of energy expended in your exercise movements. When astronauts went to space, they were some of the most fit on the planet, and when they came back, their bodies had aged 30 years biologically. Why? No gravity. Sedentary lifestyle is like being in space. No gravity. The NEAT micro movements are ways you can use gravity to take ordinary movements and generate age-defying workouts. How? Move against gravity. Key is not just not being sedentary. Moving from sitting to standing is not enough. The key is not being static, but dynamic, active rest state. How do I make my life more dynamic? Move from sitting to standing 32 times a day. Not just stand all day, that's still static. Functional fitness. Lengthens and expands consistently through the day versus the contracting that happens when sitting. Shoulders forward, organs contracted. So set a timer and do dynamic movements every 20 minutes. Variety, consistency, and frequency is the key. Stairs, dance breaks, walk to the store, walk while on the phone, standing desks, walk after dinner, perpetual motion machines. Walk. The biometrics of our bodies are designed to walk. Better to walk 1 mile 3 times a day than 3 miles 1 time per day. Don't drive places you can walk. You have 2 doctors, John Craveny and Healthy at 100. Key is to add short walks frequently throughout the day and do it consistently. It's all about the compounding effect. A pedometer. Research shows that simply having a pedometer will help you improve your performance. Simply measuring will have you food walking, TV hours, business, just tracking. The key to self-evaluation, of course, correcting. Otherwise, in some story about what you think is going on, when you track the numbers, they don't lie. Technostress and Shirin-yoku. In Japan, they have a movement called forest bathing. Apparently, trees release something called phytoncides that help us distress. Scientific studies emphasize that reveling in the great outdoors promotes human health. Spending time in natural environments has been linked to lower stress, improved work memory, and feeling more alive, among other positive attributes. Nature equals exercise squared. Get outside your comfort stress zone. We are all being stimulated to death. Daniel Goldman, in his amazing book Focus on the Science of Attention, calls forest bathing attention restoration therapy. By getting outside, unplugging, you're turning off your focused mind. Your body can release cortisol and adrenaline, which when we are under constant stimulation are hormones that are constantly being switched on and allow you to get grounded and centered. The paradox is we move the least amount in history, but we are never at a resting state or in a state of non-stimulation. iPod constantly on, radio, TV on in the background when we're sleeping, constantly on. One of my biggest challenges in my own personal journey, just being in the moment. Even now, most people will be on their phones checking Facebook or doing a few different things right now during this chat. Consistency over intensity. It's easy to put your trainers on in a moment of inspiration and go on a massive run on January 2nd with your New Year's resolution in mind, or go hard for a week or even a month. But how long does that last? We are not interested in fads here. Our goal is to have lifelong habits, change and optimize our lifestyle. We want this to stick, and stickability requires new habits, and new habits require consistent action to be taken over time. All the new research shows that it's not about showing up and having intense workouts. It's about figuring out how to structure your life in a way that you're constantly getting frequent movement in your everyday routine. Cultivating a slow burning fire versus lightning in your hair on fire. So show up. Show up. Tony Horton and the 3 voices in your head. Tony is a super energetic character that created the PX90X, and author of Big Picture, a book all about how to optimize your life in every way. He talks about the 3 voices in your head and how, despite working out 5 to 6 days a week and fitness being his life, most of the time he's not fired up to work out. The devil. He says the devil shows up about 35.4% of the time, saying things like, just take a day off, or you've worked out plenty this week, it's not a big deal. And then there's the angel, that angel voice that is excited, fired up, ready to go, get out there and rock it. That's about 23.6%. Then there's Mr. Consistency. 54% of the time, Mr. Consistency shows up and says, just do it, like Nike. Just like Nike. He's super boring and about as interesting as a wet dish rag, but he gets stuff done. Tony says, look, the reality is that you're not always going to be fired up about everything all the time, but the angel and Mr. Consistency together are more powerful than the negative. The key, he says, is to be present to the voices and then choose to show up anyway and get it done. The compounding effect of showing up when you don't want to create extraordinary results. Create the habit to get it done. So one thing that I have shared with you is something that has shown to help a lot of my clients with consistent results is a quick HIIT workout. So I did add this to our presentation today. If you have any questions, you can ask me about it offline, online, whatever works best for you. And going forward, though, the last thing I want to talk about is the game. Becoming a perpetual motion machine. This, at the end of the day, is key. Have rules for the game. Set targets and measure. Get up, stretch, dance breaks. Clearing walks. Set a timer on your phone that breaks up your work every 20 minutes to move. Those are your micros. And here are your minis. Break it up into chunks throughout the day. Link it to mini goals that you have in your personal life so that your movement is a link to your bigger goals. And you're creating positive reinforcement every time you move. So for me, it's about having a positive influence on my clients and on my community. Every time I go to the gym to take a dance break, it's not about me, it's about moving them one step closer to an optimal life. The macro. 20 to 30 minutes of higher intensity workout, 2 to 3 times a week, non-negotiable. You'll still need to get up and sweat. Strength training, longer walks, get that heart rate up. The key is to find what works for you. What you can have fun with and taking incremental compounded optimizations as you create yourself as a perpetual motion machine and feeling the benefits in our bodies, our genetic expression, our minds, our moods, etc. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, my name is Jamie. You can reach me at jamie@fitnessadvantagetrainer.com, www.fitnessadvantagetrainer. Happy to help with any questions that you may have. Have a great day.